Hey guys, KingFanMan here. I want to welcome you back to another episode of the King's Court, where me and my co-host talk about all things gaming. And my co-host is, of course, Joey Caps. Be sure and go check out his YouTube channel where he talks cyberpunk and all kinds of great things. Go subscribe to him as well. But right now, check out this episode of the King's Court. Welcome back to the King's Court. We are back, and I am back with Joey Caps Gaming, the legend Joey Caps. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, King, I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I'm doing much better after a bout with the flu and lupus. It is good to be back. Good to be back with you as well.
Awesome. It's always a pleasure, man. Now, let's get to talking about Bethesda.
Absolutely. We got some wonderful things to talk about, in fact, because... well, some people were upset when Todd Howard said that they were not going to talk about Starfield or the Elder Scrolls at this year's E3, but I said, hey, wait a minute, we got to see the Elder Scrolls 6. We actually got to see some of the Elder Scrolls 6 already at PAX East. Did you get to see that, by the way?
Yes, I finally did. And I was wondering, actually, I was like, why didn't they save this for E3? So they had something to talk about with Elder Scrolls 6, for E3. And then I was like, you know what? What they showed at PAX East was good. It was good. Don't get me wrong. It was neat. What's her name? Sherry Curley?
Uh-huh.
Sherry Curry. I'm sorry if I'm butchering her name.
Shirley Curry. Uh-huh.
Shirley Curry. So, that's awesome that she'll be an NPC in the game. That's fantastic.
It is.
And I was like,
why? Class move.
Yeah. And I was like, why didn't they save this? And to be honest with you, if they showed that at E3 and that's all they showed, thirsty Elder Scrolls fans would have probably been disappointed that that's all they showed at E3. Mm-hmm. So an E3 is made, well, it has the reputation to really showcase, the top games and, so that's what that platform is used for.
Right.
And I feel that's probably why they didn't show what they showed at PAX East for E3. And I honestly, I'm not as upset as others are when it comes to them saying that they won't be showing Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield. I actually respect them a lot more for telling us that because, it's like I would have watched that conference just for BGS alone, just to see maybe Starfield, just to maybe see Elder Scrolls 6 at E3. But now that I know that they're not there, I don't have to be expecting that. I won't be expecting that. Unrealistic expectations, I will not have that.
Absolutely.
So I think it was a great thing for them to do. I have a lot of respect that they came out and said that Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield will not be at this year's E3. Like I've said before in my videos on my channel, and probably with you too, King, they're only going to bring this out, bring Starfield out, bring Elder Scrolls 6 out when they are ready and when they are ready to be released. So when they show Starfield, it will come out that same year. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It was just an exception last year because they showed a multiplayer game that nobody in their fan base cared for at the time, and a lot still don't now. So they had to save face a bit by showing
they wanted to reassure the fans that they were still a single-player developer. Absolutely.
Yeah, with their two upcoming titles, with Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. So they had to show those games.
Well, I still believe, this being the 25th anniversary of the Elder Scrolls, I still believe they have something very special up their sleeve for E3 with the Elder Scrolls. Now, I'm not saying it's the Elder Scrolls 6, but I do believe they have something very special, Elder Scrolls-wise. Now, whether it be a remaster, whether it be a Switch port, maybe one of the older, maybe it be a Morrowind or an Oblivion going to the Switch, that would be great. Whatever it may be, there's going to be something very interesting at E3 with the Elder Scrolls. Don't you think, it being the 25th anniversary, they're going to do something exciting?
That would be fantastic, but we thought that last year with Fallout 3 the 10th anniversary for the game, and we didn't get anything.
Yeah, but come on, this is the silver anniversary. Yeah.
This is different. 25 years Elder Scrolls,
And
completely
different.
Baby. Bethesda's baby. Fallout's their adopted child, let's be honest. Okay. It's their test, their test monkey, if you want to call it that. Yes. So that's what Fallout is for them, and that's what it has been for them. So Elder Scrolls is their baby. They will not throw Elder Scrolls to the wolves. No. It's just not what they're going to do. So, and you can't blame them. No. You can't.
And we've got time to think about all that, but I want to talk about what we actually did see. I mean, we're looking ahead in time, 4, 5, who knows how many years. We got to see some of the Elder Scrolls 6. That's amazing if you think about it. They actually showed us not only some of the process of making the game, of making the NPCs, but we actually saw making the terrain, some of the technology that they're implementing, not only for the Elder Scrolls 6, but also for Starfield as well. I mean, they really pulled back the curtain and showed us some real technical things in the Elder Scrolls 6 and the Starfield. So I am really pleased with what they let us see there at PAX. It was really amazing to me.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like I said earlier, I questioned it a bit. I was like, why didn't they save this for E3? But why would they show that at E3? People would be upset and disappointed about it. So what we did see was fantastic. I love it. What they said with Starfield of how and Elder Scrolls 6 with how they're doing the graphics and stuff like that.
What do you think about this new photo technology? Now I know other developers are using it already, or it's been implemented into games, but this is going to change how Bethesda games look. They're not going to be the same ever again. Starfield is going to be a totally different looking game, feeling game than any other Bethesda game.
Yeah, and does that intimidate you at all or scare you at all? Because what if it just looks too different from what you're used to with Elder Scrolls and with Fallout? What if it's just a bit too different?
What if it
does that intimidate you?
Well, what if it loses its, what word can I say? Bethesda has never had the best graphics. I mean, that's not what it has going for it. But it always has this feel. It has this homey feel.
Yes, yes.
It's nostalgic. What if it loses that? And I think that's what you're asking. Starfield is going to be totally different. It's going to have a totally different feel. It's going to have a totally different look. And I know that's what you're asking. Is it going to be too different? Well, we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's I hate to be a negative Nancy about it. I do, because I'm excited for Starfield. Do not get me wrong. I just hope it isn't. I hope there's still that
that
BGS DNA in there.
Yes.
That DNA. I hope that it's still in Starfield. I hope it's not totally different, because there's a reason why people love Fallout and Elder Scrolls. Bethesda BGS has a certain charm.
Well, let's break down what we saw. We saw the making of the NPC and the making of some terrain. Let's go to the NPC first. One thing that Bethesda has been criticized for, and rightfully so, is their NPC, the facial animations, how they don't really line up with the words. Could this be a huge leap forward in making their NPCs and the animations of their NPCs much more lifelike, especially when it comes to lining up with the words? And again, if we're wanting more immersion, could this be, again, a huge leap forward? And I think that would be not losing nostalgia if it causes us to be more immersed into the game. I think that could be a great thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. I just slipped my mind what I wanted to say to you, King. You keep going. Just slipped my mind.
Well, as I was watching that technology and seeing them put her face into the computer,
Oh my gosh!
it was amazing because how good it looked. It looked so good. I mean, it was her. It was her in the game.
Yeah, that's and like imagine being her though. Imagine being her and like you love Skyrim and that's what you stream. That's why people know you. And you're gonna be in an upcoming Elder Scrolls 6 game. You're gonna be immortalized in,
forever.
Elder Scrolls forever. And how cool is that for her? Like how cool is that? 82-year-old woman. How cool, man. That's just a classy move by Bethesda.
That's huge.
And it's like, man, people just pay attention to the negative stuff with Bethesda. And as like all the companies, the developers, and everybody else, when they deserve their crap, they deserve it. But when Bethesda does something right, they really do. And when it comes to this and just being interacting with the community and putting her in the game, it's phenomenal. And also from PAX East, we know that P. Hines is alive, and that's fantastic to hear too.
News. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. He was on stage. That's right.
That's fantastic.
I hate to bring politics up, but it was almost like that Supreme Court judge, that nobody's seen, and we wonder if she's alive. It's like Pete Hines is alive. There he is. He's alive. He's alive.
Petey. Yeah, that was fantastic. Now, I'm gonna digress a little bit. I'm gonna pull back a tiny bit here, King, and I'm gonna ask you this question. So I was watching the PAX East conference day one, and I was watching, Todd Howard, and I was observing him a little bit in his mannerisms. He didn't seem, in the very beginning of the conference, at least anyway, with his people talking and stuff, he didn't seem too, I don't know, thrilled or happy. Maybe that's just how Todd Howard looks, maybe that's just him, but he just didn't seem too thrilled to be there. I don't know how you took it, but I was just watching him and observing him. I was like, wow, his people are saying these things and he's not too thrilled right now. And maybe he just didn't want to be there, which is all well and good. We haven't heard from him since last year at E3. So, he just didn't seem too thrilled, but we're probably going to talk about it in this podcast. Who knows? But King, you're the one who told me, I first heard it from you, about private servers.
Oh, yes.
That being a thing.
Absolutely.
Holy moly ravioli, please do it.
Let me say about Todd Howard before I tell you about the private servers.
Yes.
I have met Todd Howard, as you know. I don't know him personally, but I did meet him. And he is one that comes across as reserved, and he kind of comes across the way you just described him. He's never bubbly. And I don't think it was that he was not happy to be there. I think that's really just the way he is.
His personality.
It's his personality. But also, one thing I did think that was good, they did address during the Fallout 76 Q&A about some of the issues that had gone on during 76's rollout. And so, I mean, they just took the bull by the horns and admitted it and said, thanks for sticking with us, and here we go. So I like that he was up front with that, and so maybe that was weighing on his mind a little bit. And you never know what's going on behind the scenes. And I don't want to get deep in this, but you mentioned Pete Hines. Why has he been gone for months and months and months? There's probably been a lot of behind the scenes troubles and issues they've been working through to try to get the ship back going right.
Mm-hmm. I honestly think, King, that now, I honestly think that BGS is the studio that made Oblivion, Morrowind, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Skyrim. That's the studio we know, and all those games are great.
Yes.
And a lot of people have been upset with 76.
Yep.
It's a fantastic experience. I love the game.
Yes.
Like, you know, we've said, it took me a while, but I fell in love. I love the game. I honestly think in a couple of years, due to the updates that we're going to be seeing in the future, and from what Todd Howard said at PAX East, I honestly think in a couple of years that Fallout 76 is going to be a beloved game.
Yes.
I think people are just going to fall in love with it because it's from BGS and they have that DNA in there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I feel in a couple of years, I feel 76, even though it didn't sell well initially, I feel it's going to sell better and better each year with the updates and it just transforming, kind of like No Man's Sky with No Man's Sky. But I don't want to compare them to No Man's Sky. I really don't. I think Fallout 76 is going to be something on its own planet, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
And I think BGS is going to, once when they figure out this online thing, because Todd Howard even said it, that this was new for them, you know? So once when they figure out this online thing, and if they have, you know, I think they're going to run with it.
Yes.
And people are going to say, this game's freaking good.
Well, and like, you know I've defended this with my life from the beginning, and I've probably over-defended it a little bit, but I have stood by Fallout 76 from the beginning, and I do believe exactly what you're saying. I agree with you 100%, because I do believe in Bethesda, and I believe they're going to work as hard as they can to make this the best game that it can be. And I've also looked into other multiplayer online games, and they are very difficult to make great, if you will. I looked into World of Warcraft. It is a 14-year-old game, and me and you've talked about this before. 14-year-old game that they still have major issues with, like connection issues. And, you know, online games have a lot more problems than single-player games. You're just going to run into a lot more problems. So it was obvious that they were going to have a lot of problems at launch. They knew that. Now, I think they ran into more problems than they probably thought they were going to run into. And then they made some bad PR moves as well. Maybe they didn't all come from Todd Howard, but you understand what I mean with the bag and some of the other
awful.
Stupid,
that was awful.
Nightmare things that happen. But again, they are trying to right the ship, and that's all you can ask for. And this is what I absolutely love about Bethesda and what I love about Fallout 76. And this is coming from somebody that plays the game every day. They are literally listening to the community and changing this game. I have seen them make changes and then a change not work and then rechange it, if you will, because the community didn't like it. That's all you can ask for, is a company to continue to work and work to make the game what the community wants. And that's what I see from not only Todd Howard, but from the whole crew at Bethesda. And that's why I agree with you 100% that this game, when they fully get this online multiplayer thing down, it's going to be the #1 multiplayer game anywhere.
They're going to absolutely run with this thing because, like I said, and I've said in the past, BGS has never made a bad game. Whether you thought Fallout 4 wasn't a true Fallout game, it was still a very, very good game. I loved it. So BGS is still BGS, and this online thing is new. So once when they figure this whole thing out, they're going to run with it, and people are going to say, wow, this game's good.
Yes.
And what a step up from what it was.
Yes. And what PAX did for me is it reassured me that they're not slowing down at all. They are speeding up in the sense that they are working harder at trying to make this game better. And that goes into what you were saying about private servers. I had always been one that had worried that private servers were something that they were kind of just trying to push under the table, that they didn't want people to think about. But Chris Meyer, which you know is one of the lead guys at Austin, he mentioned private servers on his own. They weren't asked about it, but when they were asked, what are you most excited for in the future, he brought up private servers and modding. He said, this is something that I am most excited for, and what I want to bring to the community most is private servers and modding. So that should get you very pumped.
Yeah, that gets me pumped especially. King, before we go, I just want to say one thing here. Kind of off topic, but not really. Outer Worlds. It's been revealed that the Outer Worlds is going to be a 20 to 40 hour game. Now, what if Bethesda, and people kind of praising it, what if Bethesda came out and said the next Elder Scrolls game is going to be 20 to 40 hours? They would get slapped. They would get buried for that. And it's just people are just silly.
They're fickle.
Fickle,
yes. My word. They're fickle.
They're very fickle, and it's like, come on, man.
Well, very quick before we end, because this is a short podcast, out of the PAX East, which was very good. They had the Fallout 76 panel, they had the Elder Scrolls panel, they had the Rage panel, and then they had the Elder Scrolls Online panel. What else did you see that excited you? Did you see anything else that just really got you excited before E3? Because again, Bethesda is showing us this stuff before E3. That's what got me super excited.
Yeah, honestly, King, just the talk with Fallout with 76 got me super pumped up, and especially with the future updates, when Todd Howard said, he was like, the game is going to be completely different than from what you're playing right now.
Yes.
And I'm like, whoa, like that took me back a bit. I was like, what are they doing? Yes. Like, what is it that's going to be so different from what we're playing now? So I'm very, very interested and intrigued with this upcoming summer update, Nuclear Winter. That's like, he wasn't allowed to speak about it, So it's like, my goodness, what is this? And it changes the game.
And then Wastelanders in the winter. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just, man, that took me back a bit. It was like, wow, like this is going to be something else.
As a guy that covers Bethesda, you've got Rage that's about to come out that I'm so excited about, and then of course 76, which is going to be just as you say, just changing constantly, and going to be a great game to cover for years to come. And then Starfield is right on the horizon, just with Bethesda. Bethesda only. There is so much to be excited for, and that's not counting the Wolfensteins and everything else that's out there, and who knows what kind of surprises we have coming up at E3. I mean, that's just the few that I mentioned, but so much to be excited for. I've say it many times, I've got too much to play, I've got too much to do just to cover Bethesda and what they put out.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly exciting. I'm super pumped for Rage. May 14th, right? It's coming out?
May 14th, absolutely.
I can't wait. I might switch my pre-order from Days Gone to Rage. I want to play Days Gone, but I want to play Rage. So I might switch it and get Rage on release day. And that game looks so freaking fun.
Absolutely.
It looks so fun.
As one that's played a little bit of Rage, you've got to play Rage. It's amazing.
That's what everybody is saying, that the game looks great.
Yep.
Like, Bethesda won't drop the ball with this. They won't.
If there is one word that I could sum up Rage with, it's fun. It's just absolutely fun. And remember also, all kinds of new content coming almost immediately for Fallout 76. We've got Patch 8 and Patch 9 that brings all kinds of stuff, new quests, the Sheep Squatch, all kinds of things for Fallout 76. Well, Joe, thank you, man, for being here again. You coming back next week, right?
Of course I am.
You gonna be my main.
Thank you so much.
You gonna be
man.
my main man in the court from now on, right?
Heck yeah.
All right.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Well, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the King's Court. Thank you, Joe, for being here as always, and we hope to see you back next week. Thanks, guys.